Hey everybody, what do you think of when you hear the term professional sports? My guess is that you're thinking of a team full of very physically active, very physically fit men or women, possibly in their uniforms, baseball, football, soccer, hockey, the works. What do you think of when you hear the terms chess or poker? Are those sports? They also have organization. They also require a lot of skill and talent. But some people would say that they are not physical enough to be considered a sport. What about games like golf or bowling? Are those physical enough to be a sport? According to Mark Zastro in his article Ready to Level Up, many of the opponents of something called eSports use that exact argument. If it is not physically active enough, they do not consider it a sport. Now, what is eSports? Esports is electronic sports, or, in layman's terms, video games. When you're playing a video game, you are essentially competing against the other team to try and win. Who's going to win depends who has the better skills, or the better team. Examples of esports, you can really categorize them into some major categories like first-person shooter. That's your games like Call of Duty, Overwatch, Battlefield, basically where you're shooting. Then you have your strategy games, which is your StarCrafts, your Command and Conquers. Those are much slower paced. Every move has to be planned out. It's kind of like playing a board game. There's also Battle Royale games, where it's 1 versus 100. Basically, the last person alive wins. Those are your Fortnites, your Apex Legends, or your PlayerUnknown Battleground games. There's also MOBAs, which are massive online battlefield arenas. Those are games like League of Legends or Smite. There's even sports, esports. People go on and play Madden, which is a football game, or they'll play baseball or hockey. Even FIFA, you can get your soccer games. So with all these different esports around, let's take a look back at where they all started. Back in the 1980s, arcade games were very popular. People would go to their local arcade and compete pretty much against the machine in trying to get a high score. The high score was their goal. They even developed tournaments where people would meet up and they would have who could get the highest score, and the winner would take home the prize money. Fast forward about 10 more years, in the early 90s, games like Street Fighter had come around. No longer are people fighting against a high score, but they're actually fighting against other people, head to head. You got one person on this side, one person on that side, one person's going to win. That really upped the ante in terms of action with video games. Throughout the 2000s, the internet really started to become faster and it became more available all throughout the world. So during the 2000s, video games also caught up with the times and offered online options. Games like StarCraft, which was the strategy-based, turn-based, you have to plan all your moves out, became extremely popular, especially over in South Korea. In South Korea, they even had a TV program that would air their tournaments so that the public can see it, and it became very popular over there. In 2010s, 2011 to be specific, streaming services like YouTube and Twitch came around. They saw that this video game was an untapped potential, that they can get viewers. So they allowed people to upload their streams, which is a live action video of them playing video games. People who are very good at these games got popular, got a fan base, and essentially can turn it into a career. According to April White in her article, Can It Be Bigger Than Basketball? Twitch estimates that over 100 million users log in to watch their services every month. And of those 100 million, 23 billion minutes are spent watching those videos. That is a lot of time people spend on that service. All of that time with advertising turns into money. Twitch was estimated to rake in about $750 million this year, 2019, and they're estimated to get about $1.5 billion in revenue next year, 2020. Those are some pretty big numbers, so you could tell that it's definitely a popular industry. Now, this also takes us back to the argument, though. Is this a sport or is this a competition? According to Mark Zastro and all of his article, Ready to Level Up, opponents would argue that it is not physical enough to be considered a sport. These people only consider things like football, baseball, basketball, those are sports because they require athleticism. Video games require a different kind of athleticism, more mental, more reflexes, hand-eye coordination, but it's not the same. Back in 2017, the Olympics started considering should they have an eSports league. They have not yet decided. They're still working out some of the details, but if the Olympics is looking at it, then that's got to add some legitimacy that it could be a sport. One thing is it is not organized like other major leagues. Major League Baseball, for example, has a start and an end date. Every team faces every team, and then you have your tournament at the end. With esports, it's mostly competition style, where one large tournament will pop up and anyone can join it. Winner wins all the money, loser doesn't win anything. So they're not as organized as professional sports. Give it time and they might. Now, they've also had some legal troubles when dealing with performance-enhancing drugs. Believe it or not, their athletes also use drugs to gain an edge over their competition. They also have issues with gambling. So it's going to be a very hard and rocky path, but it can definitely grow into something very, very profitable for everyone involved. So what do you think? Would you consider video games sports? How organized does it have to be in order to be considered a sport? Would you be interested in watching or participating in a sport like this in the future? Time will tell, and we will definitely see what happens in the world of esports. Thank you.